Page 2 of the practice test. Match the ratio. I'm going to do a highlighting real quick. Match the ratio. These are ratios with its unit rate below. These are the unit rates. Okay. So what you're going to end up doing is write the letter. Actually, technically you will be writing the number because the letters have already been written. See? And then you will fill in the units. So here's my example of the ratio. 550 burgers for 10 orders. Well, the unit rate version of that is going to require us to divide. So here's what that looks like. In fact, here's what they all look like on this page. It is 550 divided by 10. And if you're like, I don't know how to do that, this is how they all look. And so 10 goes into that 5 times, and 10 goes into that 5 times. And so that's why I write that it is 55 burgers per order. Now, obviously, that answer is not over here because that's just the example, but this is how you do this page, okay? So this is all quite straightforward. In fact, I start with this, and I'm going to start with this. I mean, for obvious reasons, it's the first one. But, guys, every problem on this page and on this page, and really, I guess kind of in general, when it comes to math class, when you can kind of figure out a problem, use the logic to figure out the other problems. So, for example, you might have looked at this one and thought, 100 miles in 3 hours. That seems like they're doing 60 miles per hour. And here's the thing, you're right. You get that by dividing. I had someone ask me today, though, hey, could we have gone backwards and multiplied? And the answer is yes, you could have. It would have been 60 times some number. Actually, I guess, on this one, it's some number times 3 equals 180. So you can either go with this green route of 180 divided by 3 equals 60, or you could multiply. And in fact, that seems confusing. It's the exact same thing we were doing over here. 10 divided by 4, because we were doing 4 times some number equals 10. 4 times some number equals 10. So if this looks very confusing, so you go back and watch that video. So let's finish this one up. Oh, I mean, we're done with that one. 180 divided by 3 is 60. So for letter A, the answer is 3. And I already kind of said it was 60 miles per hour. Moving on, B. So this is the perfect example of, well, I'm not sure how to do this. Follow this example. So 1/2 divided by 5 is going to equal our rate. And if you're like, but I don't like to divide, I'd rather multiply. Okay, well then it's this number times 5 is going to equal 1/2. How many numbers do you know that when you multiply them by 5, you get 1/2? That's why division is so helpful on this. So let's just zoom in and do the division in here just for fun. 1/2 divided by 5. And if you're like, the reason I'm not doing this is I can't divide by fractions. You sure can. 1/2, we change, we flip. Well, this 5 is really 5 over 1. So we could write it as 1 over 5. So when you multiply straight across, you get 1 over 10. And that might seem very strange to you, but think about it. 5 times 1 over 10 is going to be 5 over 10, which is 1/2. So B is 1 over 10. 1 over 10 or 0.1. Because again, if you were like, actually, I can do that because, I can do that is, I can actually do that in my head. 1/2 is 0.5. And so what am I going to multiply 5 by to get 0.5? Well, that would be 0.1 or 1/10, right? So, okay. Our answer here is going to be 1/10 pound per day. And we're going to write number 7 right there. C. Following the pattern here, this is going to be 960 divided by 4. Well, we can throw 960 right there. 4 goes into 9 twice. 4 goes into 16 4 times, and that's it. So this is $2.40 per pound. There it is right there. So 9 is $2.40 per pound. I guess I could also be kind of crossing these off as we go. We're done with that one. We're done with that one. We're done with that one. Okay. D, 297 words in 5.5 minutes. This is one that students asked me about today, and I think it was a great one to ask about because it was a challenge to their division. And in fact, why was it a challenge? Because here's what happened. You can't just divide 5.5. You have to actually move this guy over. So there's the invisible decimal. We're going to move him over. So now he's up here. And instead of it being 297, it's actually 2,970. Okay? So 55 goes into 2,970. I'm going to say probably about 5 times. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 5 is 25. So 275. And we get 22. Bring down the 0. That is exactly 4. So the answer is 54. There we go. Number 2. 54 words per minute. Next. This is one that people might have been really freaked out because they're like, oh no, I've got fractions and fractions. But if you've been following the pattern, you guys, it's 5/8 divided by 1/4 because of how we've done all of those, okay? So 5/8 divided by 1/4, we will keep, we will change, we will flip, and you get 20/8. Now, depending on how good you are at multiplying fractions, you could have done this, and you would have gotten 5/2. But also, you could just divide by 2. You'd get 10/4, and you could keep dividing to get 5/2 again. So, it's 5/2, and if you're like, what's 5/2? It's 2.5. So this one was number 1. That's supposed to be a 1. And what was it? 5/2. And I'm actually going to write it as 5/2 ounces per pint. Because we don't really care if it's 5/2 ounces or 2.5 ounces, because that's what this says is 2.5. We don't really super duper care. So we've done half of them now. Let's zoom in here. 256 per 8. This is pretty simple. We're just dividing like this. 8 goes into 25 3 times. That's 24. I was about to write 4. And then 8 goes into 16 twice. So it's 32. So F is 32. That's 10. We're going to throw that right there. Let's see, 32, I forgot what the thing said, miles per gallon. Oh, okay, 32 miles per gallon. 4 grams for every 3 1/4 serving. 4 divided by 3/4. 4 times 4/3. I kept, changed, flip. Kept, changed, flipped. So I get 16 thirds, which is 5 1/3, by the way. Anyway, down here is number 6, 5 1/3. So it's 5 1/3 or 16 thirds, because it doesn't matter, grams per serving. Okay, now $4.80 for 6 cans. 480 divided by 6. 480. 6 goes into 480 8 times. 6 times 8 is 48. Done, done, done. It's 0.8, so it's 80 cents per can. That is number 5, so we're going to put a 5 here. 80 cents per can. We have 2 left, you guys. So, and if you're freaking out over the look of 2 of these, I designed this way on purpose, that you can do this. In fact, I'm going to take the hard route and show you how to do them both. But the cool thing about this is you could have done I, which is that letter, and then just been given the answer for J, because there'd be only one answer choice left. So let's go ahead and do this. It's 1/3 divided by 2/3. Okay, well, we're going to keep, we're going to change, we're going to flip. And now we get 3/6, which is really 1/2. So that's 8. That goes here. And the answer is there's half of a kilogram. I'm going to abbreviate per foot. And then last but not least, okay, it's pretty obvious that this answer is 4, which is 8.7 meters per hour. But let's verify that we actually know what we're doing. So back up here, we're going to do 21 3/4 divided by 2.5 hours. Okay? I'm going to rearrange this to be a mixed number. I'm sorry, an improper fraction. 4 times 21 is 84. 84 plus 3 is 87/4. And then this is 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5/2. We are still dividing because all we've done is change them to improper fractions. But now we're going to keep, change, flip. Now, it's at this point that I would love it if you could actually cancel diagonally. But if you don't know how to do that, then here's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to go ahead and get 174/20, okay? And then you're going to have to reduce that by dividing by 2, divided by 2. And here's the funny thing about this. You're going to get 87/10, and that's it. So if you're like, how would I have known that I could have done that earlier? That 2 goes into that 4 twice, and there would be 1 left over there. 87 times 1 is 87. 2 times 5 is 10. So it's 87/10, which is 8.7, okay? So there's page 2 of the practice test. Stay tuned for page 3.